Hi, I'm Anna Haney-Withrow, and this is FSW Signals, a podcast from the Institute of Innovative and Emerging Technologies, where we look at the innovative things happening at the college and explore what they might mean about the future that we're shaping together. Today, I'm so excited to welcome Dr. Judith Bilsky, Vice President of Academic Affairs, who is here to talk to us about something very new and exciting, FSW's first Renaissance Fair. Welcome, Dr. Bilsky.
Good morning, Anna. I'm so happy to be here with you to talk about the Renaissance Fair.
Great. Just to get the logistics up in the front, can you tell us when it is and how listeners can experience it?
Absolutely. The Renaissance Fair is going to be on the Lee campus on March 11th and 12th. That's a Wednesday and a Thursday. It's a Wednesday and Thursday before spring break. It will start about 11:30 in the morning and go until 2:30 in the afternoon, and it's going to be in the area that really is in front of the Student Affairs building and the surrounding grounds. It'll all be outside.
That sounds so lovely. What inspired the Renaissance Fair? Why did it feel important to bring it to FSW?
There are so many reasons for bringing it. First of all, personally, I have a love for history. I started life as a history and government teacher, years ago in the public schools, many years ago. And I've been to England, I've been to Scotland, I've seen the castles and made the tours and everything. And I think that not only for me, but probably that there's a cross-generational interest, or an enduring interest in things medieval and Renaissance. And you can see that in movies over the past few generations, everything going back to Romeo and Juliet, or the movie Camelot, or Robin Hood, or even Game of Thrones more recently, that people really got, interested in on the television. So it's a good way to mix fantasy and history and enrich our lives and take our mind maybe off the daily grind of other things that we have to deal with.
I love that. This leads really nicely into the next idea I wanted to ask you was, what do you hope students, faculty, and staff will experience through the fair?
I've thought about this a lot, and I really am hoping for an immersive, experiential learning opportunity for our students, faculty, and staff, an opportunity to engage in a way that is fun, but also it's educational. And so trying to wrap those things all together. And I can go on and on about why this format or framework. I really have a strong belief in the importance of academic and social integration. And by that, I mean what happens in the classroom and what happens outside the classroom in co-curricular activities. Because there's so much scientific evidence, there's been so much research done over the years about how much more successful college students really are when they have that academic and social integration, put it together as part of their college experience. They become more likely to succeed and graduate from college, to persist. And then when they go out into the workforce, they become better employees because they've had more of that social interaction. And so I think this is a real opportunity to take all of our disciplines, whether it's history or English or science or whatever, and have them all engaged on the academic side with students, but also do it in a way that it has some fun and entertainment value along with that social interaction and communication. So I think it's a little bit of everything for everyone.
I love that so much. So you know that I'm tracking signals, right? Like, what are the things we're seeing in the world that kind of point us to what the future might hold or how we might want to shape the future together? And one signal I've been watching really carefully is this renewed interest in analog experiences, times when we're interacting kind of in that unplugged, fully present way. When you think about the Renaissance Fair and that idea together, why do you think that might be so appealing right now?
That's a really great question, and I love that question because you think about it, we tend to kind of merge in our minds the medieval period and the Renaissance period in history. But remember, Renaissance means rebirth. It's when we were coming out of the Dark Ages and Middle Ages in history into a period of learning and exploring new ideas. Right now, we're in an interesting phase, I think, education-wise, because we have all these amazing new tools that we can use. Whether and there's so many of them. I'm not just talking about AI, but I mean, so many of us now spend our day in front of computer screens or in front of our telephone. and using those tools. And it's great because we have instant access to information that we didn't have back in the day. We can talk to people across the country in an instant by just picking up our phones. We can see them on FaceTime in an instant. Where it used to be, I could think when I was young, you'd make a long-distance phone call, you wanted to wait until after 7 p.m. because the rates went down, and then you were limited pretty much to 3 minutes because the rates would go up. And so it's a whole different world we're dealing with now. So there's great benefit to having all this technology. But what we don't want to lose by having this technology is also the human contact. And I see a lot of times, because I see a lot of students on the campus, I see them over the dormitories, I see them walking on the sidewalks, and 90% of the students will be walking and they won't be looking up. They'll be looking down at their hands because they have their phone in their hands. They won't be making eye contact with their peers. If you go into the cafeteria, even at lunchtime, you'll see students sitting across the table from each other and not engaging and talking. They'll be looking at their screens. And so there's a plus and a minus. So what I like to see is a balance here in what we have in technology, which is great. And I'm so glad we have access to, the global information we do. But I don't think we should lose the ability to communicate and interact as individuals. So I think an opportunity or an event like the Renaissance Fair is a way we can actually merge education and what goes on in the classroom and get people out there mingling a little bit together and talking, but also having fun when they're doing it, because education, part of it really should be fun. It's not always fun, okay? There's a lot of rigor to it, but there's fun to it also. And I think that the Renaissance Fair is an opportunity that has something for everyone.
I agree. And I think it's so interesting because I think it is Gen Z that's really kind of leading this unplug momentum right now. So I'm so excited to see how they're going to engage at the Renaissance Fair, the students of that generation, and the things that will delight them and get them talking to each other and so on. So I think it's going to be so great to watch. What are you curious about? What are you interested to see develop at the fair?
Well, first of all, I want to see a lot of people turn out, a lot of our students be there. So I'm working with Kaylee in communications and marketing to really get the word out over the next month, because we really want students to be there and be on campus. It's really been nice, actually, in this kind of post-COVID, post-hurricane era to see more students back on campus. And so we really wanted to ensure that, they know about this activity and that they engage in it and that they find some value added. Because again, what I'd like to see in the long term is to go back and see if it really does. I like to look at the numbers. If these kind of activities can have any impact on having more students on campus or other activities. Does it have any impact? Do we see any impact on retention rates, on student success rates, on their engagement in their classes, with their peers as well as with their instructors? Is it going to have an appreciable effect? And if we see that this has good turnout and is well received, and when there is an appreciable effect, then maybe it's something that we can do in the future. It doesn't have to just be a one-off. This year is the only time. Then it could be something that the college continues. We could do it with different themes. It doesn't always have to be medieval Renaissance, but something that sparks the interest and brings the college community together. So I really want to look at it in retrospective. We'll probably be doing some surveys and some interviews with students and faculty and staff afterwards to see what we could possibly have done better or differently, and if they saw a value added. Because it's a one thing if I see a value added, or the staff that's been working with me sees a value added because they've put so much effort into it. Very good. Okay, I hope that we do see it. But the proof will be in, is there a value added in the eyes of those who are engaging in it, the students and the faculty and the staff? And is it measurable?
Great. That's a really important thing to think about, and to see what the impacts, how they're articulated across different groups, I think will be really interesting. Assuming that this will be tremendously successful, which I think it will, what do you think that signals about the future we're creating at FSW?
I think what we're trying to do with the Renaissance Fair is help with just strengthen connections that the students have with each other, with their professors, with the staff, with the college. This college has been an integral part of this community since the 1960s, and I think really it helps solidify that connection, that we lost a little bit of that connection just due to the things that have gone on environmentally for us over the past few years. So to bring some of that back and be able to add that to what we have in the new technologies and the new buildings we have and the new assets in the buildings, just like what we have right here in the IET or in the Innovation Center that is just being developed, and other things that we're doing around the campus, cybersecurity, what we've done in Building K. So we're being able to have all these great new technologies intertwined. Now, how do we bring, or how do we integrate that with the students' actual hands-on personal connections to each other? I've had several meetings, a lot of meetings where I've talked with business people in the community, and we ask them a lot of times, what can we do to better prepare our students, to be your employees, because we want them to be employable. And you would think that they would say, oh, we want them to be better in math, or we want them to be better in science or something like this. Well, that's important. They want them to have that educational foundation. But almost across the board, what they always say to me is communication and social skills are what's lacking right now. And a lot of the employers say, a student comes in with a basic education and we have specific on-the-job things we need them to do. We can train them once they come in the door to what their job needs to be or what they need to be. But if they don't know how to interact with their peers, with their supervisors, with people that they supervise, something is missing. And so I think by having these kind of events where students have, and with their faculty and with staff, the chance to interact more face to face, it will actually help prepare them even better for the job market and the world ahead.
I love that. And I think there's such power in the shared experience. I think this is going to be something that everybody remembers for a long time. And thank you for the creativity and the leadership bringing it forward. Is there anything else you'd like to add, encouraging people to come and check it out?
It's going to be 2 days. You don't have to come on both days. You don't have to come for the whole time. There is no admission fee. There's going to be free food, lots of different activities, hands-on activities, as well as entertainers on stage. And I think there'll be something for everybody. So I hope, as many people come out as possible to take advantage of it and just enjoy themselves a little bit and relax a little bit. We're very often, like I said, we leave our offices or leave our classrooms at the end of the day, go home and turn on the evening news, and it's even more stressful than maybe what we saw or encountered during our day at work. And so this is a way, I think, to put a little bit of fantasy and a little bit of whimsy and marry it with educational experiences and, collegial experiences on campus. So I think it's all part of education. It's not diverging from education. It's not taking away from it at all. In fact, I think it's a great addition to the whole educational experience and the college experience.
Well, great. Thank you very much for being here today. I can't wait to see how this comes out.
Thank you, Anna.